Are you here? Well, now that you're here, we can all get together and have a little fun. It's the Paul Leslie Hour with our backstage interview of drummer, songwriter, recording artist Adam Topol. This interview was recorded backstage in Atlanta, Georgia at the famed Lakewood Amphitheatre. Now, Adam Topol is known to many of you as the drummer and percussionist with Jack Johnson and his band. Adam Topol is also a solo songwriter and recording artist. He's known for his performances with his own band, Culver City Dub Collective, and continues to tour with Jack Johnson even to this day. And as you'll soon hear, Adam Topol is also a super nice guy. Hey, it'd be real nice of you. You could be a super nice guy if you subscribe to Paul Leslie's YouTube channel and even liked the Paul Leslie Hour on Facebook. And it'd be a big help to us. And it also keeps you plugged into all of our interviews and reviews. Well, I think it's time we heard from Adam Topol. Hey, let's listen together.
All right. This is Paul Leslie, the King of Serene. We're backstage at Lakewood Amphitheatre. Our guest is Mr. Adam Topol, a renowned drummer and percussionist. So on behalf of our listening audience, I'd like to thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you.
So blessed to be here. Thank you.
I wanted to get a bit of your history. Could you tell us how music found you?
Yeah, music found me through the drums. It's weird. I talked to a lot of musicians, and like most people agree that like an instrument, or not most, many people agree that like a musician chooses them more than they choose an instrument. I mean, you'll hear the case of like the kid in band class that gets stuck with the clarinet or stuck with the trombone or whatever, and then it grows on them, like an arranged marriage or something like that. But in my case, like I was a little too rambunctious for band class and stuff. But I just remember when I was a kid seeing somebody set up a set of drums, and it was like just a cover band or whatever, and just the whole mystical thing of like these stands popping open and he's erecting this drum set, this contraption, and it was like magic to me. And I was like, I just remember being like mystified with it, you know, more than any other instrument.
But what is it about the drum that you think you love so much?
Oh God, I don't know, man. It's just the instrument itself. It's the architecture of a drum set or a conga. It's like hitting something. It's like subdividing time. It's creating a feel. It's creating a pulse. When I hear drumming, it makes me feel so incredible. You know, a good beat. Yeah, it's just different people gravitate towards different things. I mean, for me, like old drums and cymbals and new drums and cymbals and percussion and music involving a beat, it means everything to me. You know, it's the feel, the playing, the construction of it.
What about your influences, percussion and drum?
Yeah. Kind of like either some of the great percussionists, like, well, drum set, certainly a lot of us drummers would listen to somebody like Elvin Jones or Max Roach or Billy Higgins or Kenny Clark or Paul Motion or any of these jazz greats and be moved. Tony Williams, of course, Philly Joe, all those guys. Like most drummers go through and get into bebop and jazz and even big band and stuff. But, you know, then the funk guys like Zig Modeless from the Meters and anybody that played with James Brown, the JBs, you know, mind-blowing stuff. This drummer named Tony Allen, who's still alive, who played with Fela Kuti and who kind of was instrumental in creating Afrobeat music. I love him. Love a lot of the British rock drummers, you know, Bonhams and such. Even the guy from Radiohead, he's incredible. A lot of the British rock drummers are cool too. And then the Jamaican guys in that category. So Carlton Barrett and Sly Dunbar is pretty amazing. You know, all those guys, you know.
Did you ever get into a conga player named Ralph McDonald?
Oh yeah, he's incredible. I heard him play at the Yamaha Groove Night All-Stars, and I really like his story of the fact that he played congas, but then he's also became a songwriter and wrote some hit songs too. Very empowering for a drummer to take himself away from the side guy role and into compositional role.
We park our cars in the same garage.
Really?
Ralph was one of my all-time favorite guests.
Oh, incredible.
It's very interesting the styles of music that you play. For example, on the album Ritmo y Canto, the Afro-Cuban feel.
Mm-hmm.
What got you interested in that style of music?
You know, I was going to Berklee College of Music in Boston, and I was introduced to one of my closest friends. His name is Ben Crames, and he's a very incredible hand percussionist and a really great Bay Area drummer. And he was going to Cuba a lot to study Afro-Cuban percussion. There was a program called Caribbean Music and Dance, and they would take Americans to Cuba, American students to study. And I went on this course for 2 weeks, and I was hooked. And it was just dumb luck that, like, you got there and immediately you were basically introduced to the inventors of some of the innovators of the art forms. You know, a guy named Changuito, a guy who's recently passed who played with Cachao, named Tata Wines, a lot of the guys, you know, Roberto Vizcaíno, who's incredible. Like, all the best congueros basically were there, and I didn't know how to speak Spanish, and I didn't know the first thing about clave, or about this family of rhythms. But it definitely made me want to start getting into it, and maybe want to stay in music, because, like, if music was just about Rolling Stone magazine and the whole pop scene and all that, I would have quit a long time ago. Because for me, I'm not a scene guy. I'm not a scenester guy. But when I went to Cuba, it was like people danced and played from the heart. I mean, you'd see people that worked in hospitals, people that were dock workers, people that were cab drivers. They could sit down on a table with a pair of spoons or on a box and play some rumba, and play the stuff that would just floor you. So it really came from the heart. You know, they say sentimiento, you know, which means you play with feeling. And it instantly put it all into perspective and made me want to be a drummer again.
What is it about the world music that you like so much, other than the feeling?
Feeling, you know, again, it's just being bored with just rock. And rock is not a boring medium. And jazz is not a boring medium either. Like, you know, I've always been known as that guy. When I was in Berkeley, I worked in a record store, and I gravitated towards working in the international section. And I played in all these bands that played a type of music called sukus, which is like this Zairian high life. With all these guitars and stuff, and it just really spoke to me. It was one of the types of music that was incredibly soulful, mostly African based music, because for drummers it's real syncopated, it's real soulful, its emphasis is on pocket, whether there's a lot of notes or not. There's a lot of pocket.
Your other album is Culver City Dub Collective, and I found it interesting that you don't have your name on either of the album covers. I was hoping you could tell us about that album, and is that just humbleness, or what is that about?
So funny you asked that. You know, I really found in both of these records that I sort of was like, I stepped into the role of a producer, you know. With Ritmo y Canto, I really was a producer playing pretty basic parts, you know, and there were really some masterful Cuban drummers, Juan Calvo Flores, who since passed away, and Teresita Dome Perez, who's like one of the most gifted and revered Afro-Cuban singers and dancers, you know, there is, you know. And I think a lot of it is like just hearing all these drummers that have really moved me and wanting to interact with them. And for me to put my name on it would be just kind of weird, you know. These are definitely group projects, you know. Same with Culver City Dub Collective. I co-wrote the record with my friend Francho Tone, and it was my idea just to get all these musicians on there that I loved. And, you know, there's a lot of people on there, like that I got to rub elbows with, be it Jack Johnson, be it with Merlo Podluski, be it with Paula Fuga, Eric Avery from Jane's Addiction, Winston Jarrett and Wadi Gad, who were kind of reggae greats. You know, this guy Don Cavalli, who's a French singer whom I've never even met. David Rolicky, who used to play with Beck. Just the list goes on of just all these incredible players that just are hanging out in LA, that I almost feel like it was like I was a guy sitting in a cafe during the 1800s when Impressionism was breaking, you know, and no one else quite got it. But I was there. I'm like, oh man, I'm here with all these incredible artists. Let's do something, you know, while I have time, you know. That's what it feels like being in LA, kind of just like so many incredible people around me that I just want to pull in and play with, you know.
And thankfully, that music was preserved on the record. And one of the tracks on the album, the fifth track, is I really like that one. The
Makuta.
Makuta.
Oh yeah, on the Ritmo y Canto.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful track. We did a remix on. We did like a reggaeton remix on the Culver City Dub record as well. Great track. That's Teresita Delme Perez doing a song called Makuta, and it's one of the songs that's not religious. A lot of these songs are sacred on Ritmo y Canto because it alludes to the Yoruba tradition and the sacred music. But Makuta is one that it's a very incredible dance. It's really energetic and stuff too, and it kind of veers away from a lot of the sacred Yoruba deities and that religion. So Makuta is a fun one as well, and it was great doing a remix, and we had the guys from Ozo Motley singing on it, and a lot of great drummers, and David Leach used to play with Ben Harper, and a lot of folks. Makuta's a banging track for sure. Both the remix version and the original version.
With all of this, you also play drums with Jack Johnson. How did you come to meet Mr. Johnson?
Through J.P. Plunier, who produced Jack's first and last record, and who's really been instrumental in helping me get started in show business, really. Well, I've always played, but he's definitely somebody that's introduced me to some pretty great players and provided me with some playing opportunities, a lot of great stuff. JP.
Why do you think Jack Johnson has gotten so popular with people?
He's incredible, dude. Jack, Merlo, Zach, everybody in the band's really great players. He's an amazing songwriter. I knew it from the first second I met him. I think this is just in my mind. I think he's got great taste. I think his music is simple, but it really says a lot. I think people know that he means what he says. You hear his stuff and it blows you away. He's like one of those rare talents. The way his phrasing is, the way his voice is, it's real soulful. And yet somehow it reaches. I mean, we're all into like De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest and the Meters and James Brown, but there's a folk element where he's able to like say some words and melodies and talk about some feelings that kind of reach everybody. It's a transcendental thing. It's a spiritual thing. Like if you go hang out at his place in Hawaii and see him around his family and see him surfing, you really kind of get this whole otherworldly kind of place where he comes from that it's quite humbling.
You mentioned a couple of the other people in the band. We had the opportunity to talk to Zach Gill, and it's a talented band. In any type of touring act, you always have a lot of focus on the main person, the singer. But then I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about the dynamics of the band.
Yeah, man, we've been together I've been playing with Jack since 2000. It's been a while. Wow, what can I say, man? We've been together this whole time, and it's like kind of a brotherhood, In some ways, it's really funny because me and Jack and Merlo met, and our common bond was music and interpreting his songs, and we went on the road together in a minivan, really, and we really, those early days was just a 3-piece with an acoustic guitar, no effects, a little drum kit, and a bass, and I think together we just made this music and believed in each other as friends and as people. So, if you're in a band long enough, you're going to go through ups and downs where everyone's a little different, and there's months being on the road and being together and stuff like that. But ultimately, like, if the band stays together as long as we have, there's like this love and there's this respect and there's knowing each other like brothers, like everything about it, not everything, but so many things about this person, good and bad, and it's where your true colors show. And I think we've really gone through so much that we just know each other and really care for each other. And yet, in some ways, we're all so different,
When someone listens to one of your records or when they see you in concert, what is it that you hope the listener gets out of the experience?
Oh, man, I have no clue. Like, I know, I hope they enjoy it. I know for me, music, when I hear a good song, like I love drumming, I could listen to a Miles Davis record and hear Tony Williams play the fastest ride pattern. I could hear Elvin Jones do a drum solo on like a Love Supreme record. But the thing that I'll listen to over and over most of the time is it's just a beautifully crafted song that's 2 minutes and 43 seconds. And I have my guilty pleasure songs. It's just like a great pop song that, with a verse and a chorus and some chord changes where it just makes you feel good and it makes you want to just crawl inside it and just be happy and somehow find your own experience with the music. And yeah, I guess I hope that I'm putting good vibes out there and helping with that process.
I shoplifted this question from Cameron Crowe. What is it that you like about music?
Good question. There's so many different things, man. I mean, one thing is it's never something. It's not a Rubik's cube. You can't master it. There is no mastery of music. It's limitless. It's limitless, and it's riddled with hope. There's hope all over the music. Where no matter how much you think you know, or no matter how much you think you suck, depending on the night, there's hope. There's more music out there. It's one of those few things in life that you just don't question. You don't question your family. You don't question breathing. You don't question your friends, your higher power. If you've got one, you don't question that. You don't question music. It's always going to be something that you wake up to and you're there with. It's a beautiful thing,
Great answer. I have two final questions.
Sure.
What is your all-time favorite meal?
Interesting. Oh, it would have to be saag paneer. Yeah,
what is that?
Saag paneer and rice. It's a curried spinach.
Curry,
Indian curried spinach, and rice, some samosas and a chai. I think that's it.
Curry is always a home run with me.
Yeah, dude.
My final question. This broadcast is going out all over the world.
Oh, wow.
So what would you like to say to the world? What would you like to say to all those people that are listening in?
Oh, man. Let's see. How about this? I hope we all keep seeing live music and listening to music and making music and participating and never giving up on that. And, I think that there's a certain amount of love and unity and fun that we can all experience just through this creative process.
Another great answer.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much for this interview. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's an honor.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude.
We thank you and appreciate you dropping in for the Paul Leslie Hour today. You can help the Paul Leslie Hour in our mission to provide independent media content like this by visiting www.thepaulleslie.com/support. We truly thank you. This is your announcer speaking. Performance of The Entertainer intro song and Corina outro song, courtesy of John Primorano. Well, that's it for today. So until next time, be safe and be good.